the most explosive hack in history.
Хакеры — это же люди свободные, как художники. Они, значит, настроение у них хорошее, они встали с утра и занимаются тем, что картины рисуют. Так же и хакеры.
An election becomes a battleground.
Once they hack, if you don't catch them in the act, you're not going to catch them.
Sources admit Russia's behind it.
Потому что я, знаю наверняка, кто это сделал, но суть в том, что я не хочу об этом говорить.
Under orders from Vladimir Putin.
This is the most successful covert influence campaign in recorded history.
This is Washington, D.C. on the day Donald Trump is sworn into office. The spectacle here seems to reflect all the controversies of the election campaign.
And will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend.
Justice!
Protect and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
So they're throwing a concussion grenade to get people out of here. And people are throwing stones. Jesus Christ!
Back up! Back up!
This has actually got pretty serious. There's riot cops everywhere.
And many who came out to protest today believe that none of this would have even been possible without the hidden hand of Vladimir Putin.
So is Trump a legitimate president in your eyes?
Definitely not. I don't think it's even debatable that he had help from Putin to get him where he is, and I think Putin certainly has an agenda in doing that.
The hack of the Democratic National Committee became huge news in July 2016, when WikiLeaks published nearly 20,000 emails stolen from the DNC servers. Those emails revealed the supposedly neutral DNC was actively supporting Hillary Clinton and trying to undermine her opponent, Bernie Sanders. But I'm on the hunt to find the actual DNC hackers and understand just what's going on in this geopolitical game with Russia. First, I want to talk to an expert American spook and get his spin on the story.
Here in Washington, at the epicenter of the intelligence community in the United States, everybody's really sure that it was the Russians that did the hack. So I thought I'd talk to somebody who's pretty familiar with that community, Michael Hayden, who's not only an ex-NSA chief, but an ex-CIA chief as well.
Espionage is an accepted international practice. Nation states steal other nation states' secrets. If your nation doesn't do that, then it's not fulfilling its responsibilities to keep you safe.
For Soviet and American spies, the Cold War was actually pretty hot. Stealing secrets, fueling proxy wars, planning covert assassinations. But when the Soviet Union collapsed, America stopped worrying so much about its former superpower enemy. Then 2016 happened.
And this has gone beyond espionage. It's gone into covert influence, where they were trying to use the information they stole in order to create effects inside the American political process.
The DNC hired security researchers at CrowdStrike to investigate the breach. They confirmed that 2 different groups of hackers had broken into the DNC's systems. Both groups are allegedly closely linked with Russian intelligence agencies. By October, the American government formally pinned the blame on Russia. But it wasn't until after the election that the US intelligence community revealed Russia's main motive: to get the Donald elected.
So then you're quite confident that this was Russia, there's no question.
To be very, very clear, when the intelligence community on a matter like this, that's really in the spotlight, stands by its high confidence judgment that this is what happened, I think we can take this one to the bank.
Hacking into the servers of the Democratic Party may have been standard operating procedure for the Russians. But when the stolen files made their way to WikiLeaks and founder Julian Assange made the decision to publish, it was a game changer.
Thank you, WikiLeaks, Hillary Cheese! Thank you, WikiLeaks, Hillary Cheese! Thank you, WikiLeaks, Hillary Cheese!
So what, leaking, that's breaking the rules?
It is a completely different kind of action. You have now gone from espionage to what we would have called a covert influence campaign, where you take the information, you wash it through third parties, DC Leaks, WikiLeaks, other fora, and you push this information out, not to learn about a society, that's espionage, but to change the society. Look, the American definition of covert action: activities designed to influence foreign, political, military, or economic events in which it is intended that the hand of our government be hidden. That's a perfect definition of what the Russians just did to us. And that's quite a different matter than my honorable international espionage. And let me just step back with a little professional respect. This is the most successful covert influence campaign in recorded history.
So you were an SA in CIA.
Right.
Did you have a Russia problem? Because a lot of people talk about it being a new Cold War.
For it to be a Cold War would require Russia to be a peer. But this isn't a strong state. This is a state that's running out of the things it needs to be something strong in international affairs. Let me come clean with you, all right? I went to over 50 countries as director of the Central Intelligence Agency because they were important. Not one of those countries was Russia. If I had a weakness as director of CIA, it was probably I didn't pay enough attention to the Russians.
Russia's most visible interference may have been breaking into the DNC and releasing damaging material on Hillary Clinton. But in reality, the influence campaign was much wider and deeper than most people even realize, reaching as far as primary races in crucial swing states. In the lead up to the 2016 election, someone hacked into the servers of the Democratic National Committee and handed a trove of documents to WikiLeaks.
This is like Watergate, only now in cyber time.
Online, a person or persona calling himself Guccifer 2.0 took responsibility and claimed he was a lone hacker. But US officials believe he was actually a front for Russian intelligence. But the DNC wasn't Russia's only target. Russian hackers also broke into the lesser-known Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee. Insiders call it the DCCC. It's an organization that works to elect Democrats to the US House of Representatives. In August, Guccifer 2.0 started leaking DCCC documents related to primary races here in the swing state of Florida.
Have you ever played dominoes?
Oh yeah, I love dominoes. Not with these guys. These guys are like experts. They really add it all up in their brain, and usually they have big arguments too.
Oh really?
Yeah, like, you know, over politics and stuff.
Someone really
hear a
freaks
lot
out.
of political conversations going on.
Annette Taddeo was hoping to represent the Democratic Party in the general election. But documents uncovered by hackers revealed something similar to what was discovered at the DNC. The party establishment was actively supporting her over her Democratic rival. Taddeo believes the documents hurt her campaign and eventually cost her the nomination.
I remember asking the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, are we affected? No, we're not affected, we're fine. Those were the famous last words.
Yeah, you were affected.
Until I got that text message on my way to a TV interview where they said, the DCCC has been hacked, your campaign specifically, and we don't really know what's out there.
How'd that hit you?
Scary. I felt like I was naked to the world because everything was out in the open. It's like if you're a football team preparing for the Super Bowl, you have your playbook, and all of a sudden, you know, they steal your playbook and everybody can see it, including your opponent. I think that just like there are laws that say if you steal the recipe for Coca-Cola, you can get in trouble if you publish this information. Just because somebody gives it to you doesn't mean that you can just publish this information. Why is it that when it comes to campaigns, you can get stolen information and yet not get in trouble for publishing it? I think that should not be allowed.
But publishing leaked information is an American tradition, and details from the hacked documents appeared in papers across South Florida. And though the hackers may have been Russian, in this case, the leaker was American, an infamous local Florida blogger who was in direct contact with Guccifer 2.0. Aaron Nevins is a former Republican operative who blogs under the alias Mark My Word.
You know, for an obscure blog in Florida that was publishing salacious details about Florida politicians, you got a pretty big scoop. How did that happen?
Well, ask and ye shall receive, like the Bible says. The hacker or hackers put out a a blog post saying, contact me if you want more information. So I sent a direct message that basically said, I'm happy to, if you have anything Florida specific, I'm happy to release it.
So just to be clear, what exactly did Guccifer 2.0 give you? Like, how many documents are we talking about here?
Oh, it was a lot of stuff. And that's one of the reasons why I started parceling it out to the papers here around the state, because it was every single congressional district divided by district and a folder on each.
Gigabytes we talking
Gigabytes. And they're on my Dropbox still.
So why don't you show me these messages you got that you sent to Guccifer?
Sure. You can see the first one.
Feel free to send any Florida-based information to editor FLA. Got it.
.com. Hi, thanks for your info. There'd be no viruses.
Even just for lulz. Ha ha ha. Holy man, I don't think you realize what you gave me. So I can see you're kind of freaking out a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, you owe me $1 million. There it is.
So races that I've worked on, where they've done this type of data to find what we would call persuadables, that's the huge $1 million value.
It's the swayable people. That's what you're after.
It's the swayable people. That document gave a pretty good roadmap for the entire state of Florida as to where the Democrats will be deploying their resources.
So you just coughed up the playbook, basically.
Basically. For the first 2 days, as I was parceling it out, looking through it, trying to figure out what exactly I had, the only thing that was going through my mind was, when's the FBI gonna kick down my door?
Do you feel like you might have been kind of a tool of a foreign state?
Nah, I don't think that, because it was all, you gotta remember, it was all Americans who were releasing the information and who were using the information.
But in reality, this was not an all-American effort. And to find out who did the actual hacking and how the Russian government hides its fingerprints, I'm heading to Moscow.
Based on uniform intelligence assessments, the Russians were responsible for hacking the DNC.
Before handing power over to Trump, Obama outright blamed Russia for the hack. I'm in Moscow, hunting down the hackers who actually pulled that off. I've worked all my sources, and I've finally met someone who claims he has direct knowledge of the attack. He seems well known in the Russian hacking community, but to protect his identity, I can't say much more about him. This is what he told me.
Tell me who you are. I know you can't say exactly who you are, but why don't you describe to me who you are and what you do?
Я занимаюсь созданием технологий в области наступательной информационной безопасности. То есть в каком-то смысле меня можно назвать словом хакер, но на самом деле я предпочитаю считать себя инженером.
Have you ever been offered to work for Russian intelligence before?
Компания, занимающаяся информационной безопасностью, которая крупнее 100 человек, она делает те или иные вещи для государства, в том числе и такие, которые связаны с offensive. Поэтому я думаю...
How does that happen? Could you kind of describe that scene for me?
Я могу тебе рассказать, как оно вообще происходит, но я не могу тебе рассказать, как оно конкретно в России происходит, потому что я знаю об этом слишком много, чем хотел бы знать. It's absolutely stupid and ridiculous idea to talk about such things when we're staying in Russia.
So you do work with Russian intelligence then? Or you have?
Sorry, I can neither confirm nor deny this assumption.
You know, it's funny because I deal with spies a lot, and when they say that, that usually means yes.
It's just your assumption.
I know the attack was at least partly a spearphishing operation. Basically, two groups linked to Russian intelligence, codenamed Cozy Bear and Fancy Bear, sent fake emails to DNC workers. Fancy Bear's messages prompted people to change and inadvertently reveal their email passwords. But I want this guy to tell me if it was just that simple.
Did you get a chance to look at any of the malware that was used or any of the operations that were suspected to be done by some of those hackers to get a sense of how sophisticated that actor was?
Есть некоторый миф, который заключается в том, что для того, чтобы там взломать какую-то большую серьезную организацию, тебе там нужно иметь там супертехнологии, которыми могут похвастаться только супер крутые и супер высокопрофессиональные группы хакеров. I believe that for almost any attacks that we can read about in the news, it can be done even with the stuff which can be publicly downloaded from the internet.
What about the allegation that phishing emails had a lot to do with the DNC hacks? Do you think that's a possibility?
Я не думаю, что я в принципе могу сказать что-либо по поводу этой истории со взломом ДНЦ. То есть она мне в принципе не интересна, и я ее даже не изучал, если уж на то пошло.
Ты не изучал, но тем не менее ты слышал. Ты же как ты информацию это анализировал, если это тебя зацепила аббревиатура?
Ну, да, я слышал слишком много, чем хотел бы.
Ну и что ты обо всем этом думаешь? Кто все-таки мог такое сделать, если говоришь, это настолько легко и тривиально?
Блин, вы не врубаетесь. Мне не нужно ничего думать, потому что я, знаю наверняка, кто это сделал, но суть в том, что я не хочу об этом говорить, понимаешь? Это point.
So he's saying that he knows for sure he's done it, the DNC hack, but he doesn't want to talk about it, and that's his point.
And as for DNC hacks, I don't want to provide you any information about this because, it's pure insight. I know this information only because some people who told me something did a big mistake when they told me these things, and it's not something that they was permitted to do.
I'm still not sure why this man in the shadows who seemed so nervous agreed to be filmed in the first place. And our conversations raised more questions than they answered. I started to get a little paranoid that Russian intelligence might be getting onto me and the story I was investigating, the biggest hack in history that was widely believed to directly involve them. I heard the Russian government was aware of my reporting in Russia, and that's never good. Then, like what's happened almost every time I've started reporting from this country, the story somehow got murkier and weirder. And if he's telling the truth, I'm about to meet a guy who actually hacked the DNC. Someone we made contact with at a Russian hacker meeting reached out to me, saying we needed to talk. He claimed to work in the criminal underground and for the government, and said he had direct involvement in the DNC hack. He instructed me to meet him in a remote town, so I hopped on a train.
So I'm on a train out of Moscow right now, and I can't really say where I'm going or who I'm speaking with because I really don't know who's listening to me right now.
Online, the person I met was eager to talk, cracking jokes and sending pictures. But in person, what I saw was a chain-smoking stress case. His desperation and vulnerability was unnerving, to say the least.
So we're still negotiating. It's been literally hours now, and he's refusing to go on camera, but he's agreed to answer questions off camera. And I thought I was supposed to have just a chill Banya interview, but this has now turned into him talking about fearing for his life, so it's a pretty intense scenario.
First, he wanted money, then the promise of asylum in North America. I told him I couldn't give him either. Finally, he agreed to talk to me on the record, as long as there were no cameras or audio recorders. An interpreter wrote down my questions in English and his answers in Russian. This is a reenactment of our conversation.
So what do you do day to day?
Advanced persistent threat. I put together letters and they were opened.
So you're a malware writer?
Yes.
You put together spear phishing emails?
Yes.
And who do you do this for?
For myself, to get money.
And who do you work for?
We work for someone who orders, someone who comes to a forum who orders, and I check where to channel money.
So you talk about these forums where someone comes in and commissions something. Do you know who it is? Like someone in the government, FSB, GRU, Department K?
They won't say they're from the state. All these forums are curated by the state.
I mean, how do you know people there are working for the state?
The state wouldn't allow such forum for criminals without control. The services are the same services provided by the Ministry of the Interior, meaning that they offer to check information and tapping, and only state agencies would do so.
If what this mysterious hacker is saying is true, then he would have been working with Fancy Bear, That's the nickname given to a cyber espionage group that's allegedly linked to Russia's military intelligence agency, the GRU.
So you're part of Fancy Bear. What do you do with the group? What's your role?
Collecting information on the targets for the break-in,
So you hacked the DNC.
together with a group of people,
And how many?
a few.
Who ordered it?
This is not general question about hacking.
Do you not want to talk about this stuff?
Not yet.
For some of the hacks you've done before, has the FSB ever hired you?
FSB hires no one. All is done through forums. It's kind of masked. It's impossible to tell.
But you have to wonder if the FSB's hired you or bought some of your services in the past, or the information that you've gotten.
What's the difference? Who buys it?
Are you currently sitting inside of any American computer networks?
Mm-hmm.
Can you say which ones?
Industrial companies, top 100 for 2015. There's the list.
So just to be clear, you've hacked top 100 companies around the world, political parties. This is all for money.
Mm-hmm.
Is the government protecting you, or are you afraid of them killing you or throwing you in jail for some of the hacks that you've done?
Since it came out, they needed a scapegoat.
But isn't that strange since you've helped the government?
What's the difference? It came out. Now they need to put someone in jail.
Why are you talking to us?
Maybe it'll help me to go. Get out of the country.
Are you afraid to stay here?
There's nothing left to do here.
How do we know what you've told us is even true?
There's no way to check. Everything we said is general.
This might be the closest I'll come to the real source of the 2016 election hacks. If this man is telling the truth, the US intelligence community was right. The Russian government did in fact order the attacks, but the individual hackers behind the keyboards could have been freelancers who were hired or pressured into doing the work, or who didn't even know what they were doing. And that is definitely the MO of Vladimir Putin. The question is, why? And what will America do next?